It is another great morning. Welcome to our news at 9. And in today's news stories, we have a lot lined up for you. But let's look at our stories making headlines. 4 people killed by floods in Makueni and Kitui as number of people displaced hits 50,000. Education CS defends new university funding model. I am not guilty, Meru Governor Kawira Mungaza tells Senate on impeachment charges. South African minister robbed at gunpoint. And my hands are tied, President Ruto says on the high cost of living. Welcome to our news program. Once again, I'm your host, Clement. 4 people yesterday lost their lives in Makueni and Kitui counties following the ongoing heavy downpour experienced in most parts of the country. Kenya Red Cross has now put the number of people displaced by floods at 50,000 countrywide, with the disaster management predicting higher possibility of the outbreaks of waterborne diseases. Since the onset of the short rains, the hardest hit parts is the northeastern region, with some areas extremely cut off by flood waters. For instance, a lower town in Mandera, also known as the Wells of God, is currently the home to roughly over 600,000 people who have been forced to look for alternative shelter after it was completely submerged. Other affected areas are Diff and Bana in Wajir County and Ifo refugee camp in Dadaab that have been completely immersed in floods waters, frustrating attempts to get much needed help for residents. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu has strongly defended the proposed university funding model, saying that it will be the most effective solution for students, especially those from poor family backgrounds. Speaking yesterday in his visit to Kisii University, Machogu said the newly introduced model is key to rectifying disparities and creating opportunities for students from underprivileged backgrounds. He added, and I quote, "We try to determine the level of need, and once we do that using a scientifically proven method, which is known as the means test, they will pay almost nil." End of quote. Machogu faulted the previous funding system known as differentiated unit cost, terming it flawed and unworkable. The new university funding model puts students into parts, with each category reflecting their financial means and needs. In battle, Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza has pleaded not guilty for impeachment charges leveled against her. Appearing before the Senate, Mrs. Mwangaza defended herself from other charges, among them the abuse of office and mistreatment of his deputy. Other accusations include dismissal of employees who are still under payroll, a matter that was cross-examined in the plenary. After pleading not guilty for the 7 charges leveled against her, the County Assembly of Meru lined up 6 witnesses to testify against her. One of the witnesses, Mr. Mwaki Arimi, said, and I quote, "We made several attempts to be reinstated back to our office because we were sent home unprocedurally." End of quote. The governor has, however, lined up 4 witnesses to defend herself, with the Senate expected to vote today. A South African minister was yesterday robbed at gunpoint and her bodyguard's weapon stolen in what police called an unprecedented incident. Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga said she was unhurt but traumatized by the ordeal in the early hours of Monday. During the incident, Mr. Chikunga's car was forced to stop on a highway south of Johannesburg after the tires were punctured by spikes. According to her, the well-dressed gunmen wearing balaclavas appeared and disarmed them as her bodyguard was trying to change the tires. Police reports indicate the robbers vanished with her personal belongings and 2 South African Police Service pistols. Other items stolen included a laptop, among other items. Police spokesman Atlinda Mathe said a manhunt has been launched for the suspect following the unprecedented incident, adding that those found culpable will be brought to book. President William Ruto now says his hands are tied over the rise in the fuel prices in the country. In a parliamentary group meeting convened by the president as the UDA party leader and as the Kenya Kwanza leader, which was also attended by over 200 MPs, the topic on the high cost of living featured prominently. Sources privy to the meeting disclosed that the leaders present raised concern over the high cost of fuel, which continue to make life unbearable for most Kenyans, an issue that the head of state said was making him lose his sleep as his hands are tied. Kenya Kwanza MPs are set for another parliamentary group meeting next week to discuss the soaring cost of fuel, even as most Kenyans continue struggling to make ends meet due to the high cost of living. That will be the end of our news today. I've been your host, Clement. Until next time, have a blessed day.